All right, right above the Sitka willow, we have another tree that we're going to learn today. This is Alnus rhombifolia in the Betulaceae. The common name is white alder, and this is one of two species of alder trees in California. The white alder, and then we'll learn the red alder later. Alders have simple alternate leaves, and they have secondary veins which are very, very straight that go out to the leaf margin, and they have serrated leaves. Okay, so that's all alders have that. This particular species, Alnus rhombifolia, has, remember I told you when we learned about corylus that Betulaceae often have doubly serrated leaves where they have finer serrations and then you have a bigger pattern of tooth? Well, Alnus rhombifolia, that double serration pattern is not very obvious sometimes. So you just kind of see the fine serrations, but that pattern of the bigger teeth aren't really as obvious. So that's an important characteristic to separate from the red alder. And then another one is that the leaf teeth, when you look at them really closely, the margin is not rolled over at all. And Alnus rubra, we'll see in a couple weeks, has got a margin that's got kind of a crimped, rolled over look to it. So, okay, so that's a good characteristic. The other thing are these cone-like structures. All alders have these, and I think these are I like to call these little dollhouse pine cones. So if you had a dollhouse at home and you wanted to have a little pine tree in there, you could use these alder cones as your dollhouse pine cone. And these are, the reproductive structures. They were catkins, and then they dried out, and you can see here some greener ones. And they dry out, and then the little seeds are in there, and they're going to blow away. And they're wind-dispersed seeds. And these little cones are quite a bit smaller than Alnus rubra, so you can take a look at that when we see Alnus rubra. All right, so where does Alnus rhombifolia live? It's a riparian species, so you find it growing along the sides of streams and rivers. It really needs a lot of water, constant access to water. And this species is basically found here in Samuel Taylor in the Bay Area, and then everywhere eastward. So this is the species that you see generally in the East Bay. And then it grows all the way into the foothills of the Sierras. Alnus rubra lives more on the coast and then gets more and more common as you get into wetter and wetter parts of California. So we're going to learn our Alnus rubra probably in a couple weeks when we go to Point Reyes. And then it'll live all the way, as you go into Mendocino, Humboldt counties, Oregon, Washington. Alnus rubra will be your common tree alder on those wetter, more coastal habitats. Alnus rhombifolia, the white alder, has pretty smooth, light gray bark. I'm assuming that's why they call it the white alder, from the smooth gray bark. And as those trees you see them bigger, it's a little bit more obvious. You can really pick them out when you're looking around on the side of a river. So to sum up, Alnus rhombifolia, simple alternate leaves. It has serrated edges, but that doubly toothed serrations is less prominent, and the margins are not rolled over at all. And the little dollhouse cones are smaller than Alnus rubra.